and welcome to the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I am the host of this show, and I have my co-host, my monthly co-host, Dr. Sunji Phillips with Bryson Associates with me today. How are you doing?
I am doing well today. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, and I just want to say I'm very proud of you. I am getting her out networking, and she came to this big event. She did a wonderful presentation for the Minority Business Association in Bridgeport, and that's for all businesses under $5 million. And it was, everybody loved her, so I wanted to make sure they knew I brought her, you know. I had to put that out there. Now, if she had messed up, I would have hid. But anyway, welcome back, Dr. Sunji.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on your show each month. I really enjoy this time together. I really, really do. I know that just recently, Miss Vanita had said to me, well, Sonji, I know that you're busy and you have a lot to do, so if if you just can't do the show anymore, I'm like, I can do it. I enjoy this time with you. I really do.
I love doing this. Like, I take time out of my job.
Yeah.
I don't do, actually, this is what I do on Fridays. I just kind of relax. I do my Zoom meeting, and I might have an appointment afterwards, but I'm dressed casually today, so I don't. And I just love doing this, you know, because my passion is giving out information. And if I could bring somebody on the show to give out, vital information to help put them in a better place, then, mission accomplished.
Absolutely.
So
wonderful.
That's what you're here for. And you have great information, so.
I want to say that everybody needs a Vanita in their life, because for me, I put together Bryson Associates back in 2019, and I'm not an outside person. It's not about me, today, but that's not who I am. So I just sit in my office and I do the work and I help the people that I need to help. Anybody that comes to me, I'm going to help you. But it was never in my personality to be outward and go out and to. But Miss Vanita has absolutely helped me to see how valuable and important it is to get this information out through this forum and through other forums that she's literally dragging me into. But it has just been such a pleasure being on this journey with you.
Well,
it
thank
really
you.
has.
Thank you for saying that. What you do is just too important to keep it to yourself. And she doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to drag her on my radio show, too. Okay, now, what are we doing today? You got to share. You got to share. It's a gift, and you're helping people. You don't know it because they don't, they're on TV and they can't respond or anything, but you're really helping people with their children, with their jobs, the things that the information that you give is just so important. I know it's helped to me in many ways.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that we have decided to do at Bryson Associates is one of our clients is in Georgia, and they provide youth services, foster group homes. And I recognize, or we, not me myself, but we recognize that there's such a need down there for learning and knowledge and understanding into running the group homes and the programs and things of that nature. So what we're doing, I am maybe about 40% complete with writing a manual.
Okay.
And this manual is specifically for leaders that are running group homes and working with children in foster care. So this manual is an instructional guide so that leaders that are running group homes, that are taking in children in foster care, they'll have a little toolkit. They'll be able to have just another resource in their toolkit to add to what they may already know from the state. Because one of the things that I find oftentimes as I go through agencies is that they're operating at the standard level. So if the regulation says you can only have 2 eggs in your egg, or that you should have 2 eggs in your egg basket, everyone is walking around with 2 eggs in their egg basket. The state said we just need 2 eggs in an egg basket, and then I come along and say, why not carry a dozen?
Exactly.
And so that's what I want to do with youth services, and we're going to start it in Georgia. We're not going to end it. That's not an end all to be all, but we're going to start it. We're going to do a 3-day leadership retreat in Georgia. And we're going to do it, and I believe we secured the dates, but I think it's the middle of June.
Okay.
And so in the meantime, I am completing the manual on supervision and oversight of youth services in Georgia, just to help to give them a little bit of a guideline. And we have a webinar coming up on May 9th, a free webinar. I know you love webinars.
Another free one.
We're going to have a free webinar coming up on May 9th, and this will be the first of a series leading up into our June leadership conference. And this is going to be on human trafficking.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
I just, that is such, a category that we take for granted. We don't realize how much of it is out there and how you get involved in it. And once you get involved in it, how you can't get out of it because you're trapped. So that is I can't wait to get into that. Oh my goodness. And talking about the youth, just to, this is something, you're talking about youth from what, 10 to 16? When you say youth, or what's the age?
I tell you, you're going to get me emotional sitting here. Because
that's okay. It's a reality show. I've cried here before.
Whenever we do any trainings or topics, we dig deep into our research. I mean, we go and we read newspaper articles. We mostly work with peer-reviewed journals, and we pull them up through the APA, American Psychological Association websites and other websites where we can get peer-reviewed articles, but then we also go into current events and things. And just from the research we've been doing for the last couple of weeks to put the manual together and to prepare for this human trafficking course, it is just heartbreaking. You see children as young as 8 years old, and they're being trafficked.
Yep.
Lots of things going on now with migrants that are coming over. And they're helpless because they don't know anyone here, and they may not even know the language to speak, and people are waiting for them at the border.
Yeah. That is that is awful, the way that happens. But this information that you're going to give us on the youth, whatever age it is, for these group homes, that's going into my home, and it's going to go into your home too. So everybody can use this information. That's what I mean by the valuable information that she gives. I raised 2 sons. I got a granddaughter. I'm sure there's gonna, I'm gonna have some challenging times. And, I'm so lucky I don't have to pay for therapy. I could just call her. But I'll have this information in my arsenal already. So take notes, people. Okay.
Yeah, I had a recent incident where, a child that I personally know in my life, he, teenagers, he's 15 years old, he got into an argument with his dad, and so now he's walking over, and when I say walking over, they live in New York, in Brooklyn, New York, and he's walking from, and everybody may not know the area, but maybe like 5 miles, I want to say it might have been. And it's from where he lives in Brooklyn, in downtown Brooklyn area, and he's walking over to East Flatbush, to his nearest family member house. And after, doing all of this research and all this reading, this is all in my mind. And the first thing that I'm thinking when I hear about this is, oh my God, like the predators are out there waiting for you. They're looking for young people that look out of place, that look disheveled. They're looking for young people that they can say, what's wrong? Let me help you out. Let's go grab something to eat from right here. Let me go grab something from my house right quick. And then I'll walk with you over there. And then the kids are captured.
Yep, they're very vulnerable. And you're right.
Yeah, and human trafficking, and it is a $1 billion business. I don't have the exact figures on me, but they're all going to be in the manual, and they're going to be in the presentation that we do on May 9th. But human trafficking, it has increased more than doubled in these last few years, and they're mostly targeting the migrants that are coming into the United States. They're targeting young kids who are out of place. They're targeting anyone that looks like, like they're looking at kids going to school with book bags on their back. If we look at how many kids have just disappeared.
Oh, it's scary to think
Yeah.
about that. So I would say to that, always be aware of your surroundings. And, just go back to the basics. Never talk to strangers. Don't get in anybody's car.
Yeah.
Don't even walk up to a car and give anybody like directions or something, especially vans. I am like one of those paranoid moms. And I just like drill that into my children all the time.
Yeah. What I want to say, and we've been talking about kids because that's, we're putting together the series for youth, but it's for adults too.
Oh, yeah.
You're finding a lot of people, and it's not just girls and women, it's men too. It's
boys.
young men that they believe to be, because everyone has an audience or has a group of people that they're targeting. So you have some who are targeting men, who's targeting young boys, who's targeting girls. It's not just, oh, I'm safe because I'm a grown woman or I'm a mature woman. There is there is someone that's targeting grown, mature women.
That's right. And I watch a lot of police shows. So I'm already aware of some of those things. Like I watch Criminal Minds, and some of the things that they do to these kids, how they capture them, they would, they'll do it at like a carnival. Like you'll be distracted for 1 minute, and they work in pairs. It's not just one. Somebody will distract you for like 1 minute, and then you turn around and your kid's gone. Gone.
Yeah.
They're professionals. It's like, they have degrees in how to kidnap children, especially children.
Yeah, and this morning as I was getting ready to leave the house, on News 12 New York, you might have seen it, where a toddler got away from their mother on a bus stop. Did you see that? A toddler got away from their mother on a bus stop and raced out towards a busy intersection.
Oof.
It just so happened that two barbers, looked out the window and saw the child running down the street, which was a fairly unused street, but she was headed towards a major street, and so they just quickly took off and ran behind her and grabbed her before she hit that busy main street and busy intersection. That was on the news this morning, News 12, Connecticut. And immediately, because of what I'm studying and what we've been researching now, I thought to myself, oh my goodness, if the wrong person had grabbed that baby.
Yep. It would have been all over.
And what the story said was that the mother was just distracted for a moment and the child took off, and it would be just that quickly if the wrong person had saw that toddler running. They could have grabbed her, snatched her up, and mother would have never known what happened to her baby.
Right. So quickly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was going to say some of the things that we have to do, and I warn especially young mothers that when you're shopping, keep one hand on your child at all times. At all times, keep one hand on your child. If you've got to reach for the cereal, have your hand on them and you're reaching for the cereal. Don't turn your back on your kids, not even for a moment, because these people that are snatching up these children, they're pros at this. They're not, these clumsy misfits. They're getting a certain amount for each child, and this money is good to them. So they've already mastered how to snatch kids and how to redirect parents. And, some of the things, especially with a parent, your baby is in the shopping cart and you're trying to focus on getting your shopping. What I say to young parents all the time is never take your hand. Even if you're like, oh, well, she's right there. I noticed she's right there. Never take your hand. Let one hand always be on your child. Because if anything, it's going to deter someone who has mischief in mind regarding your child.
That is so true. So true. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I'm sure every parent has a story like this, but I can remember when my son was a baby and we were in Macy's. I was, just shopping in Macy's, and I had the kids with me, and my son decided he wanted to wander off. Well, 1 minute he's standing right beside me, him and my daughter is like 7 years older than him. So at the time she might have been 10 and he was about 3. And so I'm talking to the lady, and the lady is telling me, the salesperson got me all excited because I'm giving her the sweater. I got to have this sweater. How much is it? And she said, oh, well, they didn't put a price tag on it, so it's 1 cent.
Oh,
and I said,
my
it's
God.
what? And so, and oh my goodness, the sweater was amazing. And so I'm like, it's 1 cent. And my daughter's like, mommy. I'm like, wait 1 second. Watch your brother. Just wait. And so now
this penny sweater.
Right, I've got to, let me go find a penny somewhere, you know. And so, I'm talking with the lady, and she's explaining to me if there's no sales price and no sales tag on it, it hasn't been labeled yet. She's not finding a URL or whatever number in there. And so she's just giving me all this information, and I'm like, yes. So I purchased the sweater, and then I look down, and my baby is gone. My son is gone.
Whoa.
And I asked my daughter, where's your brother at? And she's like, I don't know, mommy.
She's 7.
She was 10. I don't know.
Okay. 10
I don't
years
know.
old. Oh my
and
God.
Immediately I'm ready to just pass right out. So I'm calling his name. He's not responding, and I just started yelling to the security, shut the store down. Just shut everything down.
Right.
Lock the door, shut the doors down, and fortunately I had, great people around, and everybody is through the store with me. It was a guy, like big burly guy, and he's at the door. He's like, ain't nobody going through here, miss. You ain't got to worry about that. Ain't nobody coming through here. And people were like running and scattering to
try to find them.
Yeah, and everybody is calling his name, and then finally I hear this little soft voice, huh?
Oh my God.
I call him again. I hear, huh? And then, of course, I'm following the huhs, and then I pull the clothes back, and he's just standing behind it. This was just fun for him.
Oh my
And boy,
goodness.
and you already know with a mother, I'm hugging him and crying and ready to just tear his head off all at the same time.
Oh.
But, like, that was my story, and it ended well.
It
But there
did.
are far
I
too
had
many
one that
people.
ended well too.
Yeah.
We were at Quasi Park.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jonathan was like 5, 6, 7, something like that. And we were at a birthday party there. And so it was at the end, I think it was closing like around 6 o'clock. And I said, stay here with the group, parents and his older brother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom. I come back, and it's our party.
Mm-hmm. There's
no Jonathan. I had a complete meltdown. I wasn't as calm as you.
Yeah.
I had a complete meltdown, like my body just went limp. And I ran around. There's so many ways, so many exits to Quasi Park. I just had the worst nightmare. It took me about a half an hour to find him.
Oh my
He
goodness.
he had walked into like an arcade that they have there, and he was in there. I had ran to they have like a little station there, and my girlfriend was with me. I couldn't even talk. She had to talk for me. I had a complete meltdown, and when I found him, I did the same thing you did.
Yeah.
I was like, "Don't you ever leave?" He walked away.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You never know what they're gonna do.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is both of our stories, and it's very anecdotal. We can sit here, we can smile and laugh about it, and then we still feel the emotion of what we had. And, but somebody else's story didn't end that way.
I know.
Someone else, is sitting, and they're tracing back what they could have done better and what they did wrong. And that's something that we want to kind of capture when we're doing our training on May 9th. We want to be able to help parents. So it's about giving the information that parents need around human trafficking and caregivers need around human trafficking, but mostly around the protection from, providing support to help to decrease human trafficking, what to look for, what does it look like when a child may be trafficked, when you may find them around in the wrong places. I can remember another time I was here in Ferguson Library studying, and this was years ago, and I saw this young girl, and she was in there, and this this older gentleman came and sat next to her, and she didn't look comfortable, but I could see that she was expecting him. And so now he's like talking to her, and he's kind of rubbing her shoulder, and and she's just sitting there, and she's just rolling her eyes a little bit, and so immediately I went over and I said, "Are you okay?" And the gentleman looked up at me, and she looked at me, and she looked like she wanted to say no. But
They're scared.
yeah, but
Scared to death.
she just nodded. Okay, I said, "Are you sure? Because I won't let you leave here unless you're comfortable."
She would never, you know what, they would never say anything in
Yeah.
front of the person that they fear. That is the only thing. You have to like catch them when she goes to the bathroom,
Yeah.
you know, because he can't go in there. You know,
Right.
you got to catch them
Right.
alone.
Right.
And try to let them know that there is help out there.
Yeah. Well, I told the security guard, I went right over because immediately the older gentleman said, "Let's get out of here." And so I immediately went over to the security guard and I told him what I suspected, you know, that was going on. And he went over and he approached them. So by the time I left the library, the security was right there and I heard him saying that, you know, something about I'll have to call the police or something like that. And I just walked away and I looked in the girl's face and she looked right in
You
my
knew-
face and I knew something wasn't
knew
right
something
about
was
that
wrong.
situation.
You can tell. You can
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah, it was something that was not right. Now, I don't know how it ended, of course, because I left, but it was, you know, the library here in Stamford. But these are the things that we want to train other people to be watchful of things. And of course, that was none of my business, but I made it my business because something looked like that young girl wasn't happy to be with him. And I did, and you know, and she was a young black girl and he was an older white male. And it doesn't mean that white and black can't be together, but it just
Didn't seem right.
Right, it didn't seem like they were. She didn't greet him with a smile, or she didn't even say how you doing when he approached. She just watched him come and sit, and the way that he continued to touch her, and she didn't seem. It just didn't feel right. There were just too many things about it, and so those are some of the things that we want to kind of bring awareness to. If you
Okay.
see something, say something. Don't allow this to happen because you never know what the next steps are. You know, maybe he was grooming her, maybe he didn't know her, or maybe they were best friends and she was just mad at him because he, you know, who knows. But the police were going to be the ones that were going to figure
Exactly. Get some identification.
it out. Right.
You know, just you know, you have to be aware of every little thing, and you can help people. There are a lot of people out there that need help, but they're afraid to ask for it because
Absolutely.
of the situation they have to go back to. Even if you go to the police sometime, if you don't press charges, even like in domestic cases, if you don't press charges, then you have to go back to that situation because that person is supporting you financially or just whatever. So you could end up in situations that you're really fearful of.
Yeah.
But what you want to do is, you know, try to help them, let them know there's help out there, and you could get away from a negative situation.
Absolutely.
You really can. So.
Absolutely.
So besides keeping your hands on children, I like that little harness thing that they have because now that I'm getting older and my granddaughter's about to be 3, if she takes off running, I can only run so fast. She might get away. So that's not a bad idea to have the harness. Or what is, am I saying that properly? Is that what it is?
I believe it is called a harness, yeah.
You know, you put it around their waist
Yeah.
and you have it around yours and they're like attached to you. So you can feel it and they can't just take off
Right.
if you're like in a mall or something because like I said, you know, when I'm getting up there, I might not be able to keep up with her. So that's not a bad idea when you have like little young kids too.
Yeah, you have to use whatever method you possibly can to secure your children. You know, and if a harness is necessary, because that it does make sense if you're
Yeah.
older and you can't
I don't
run
care how it
behind them.
look. She's not going anywhere. Say what you want, think what you want. This is my baby and she's staying attached to me.
Yeah, whatever method that you need, then you have to do it to make sure that you are securing your children, keeping them next to you, keeping them safe. Because what's most important is that we make sure that we don't allow the predators to get close to not only our children, but to us. Be very watchful. One of the things that I saw recently, I saw something about it, and I've seen it in actual shows, is where people are distracting you, saying, oh, can you help me to put this in a vehicle? Can you help me to put this in the back of my van?
Oh, no.
They're looking like they have a broken arm, or, oh, I can't lift this up. And then you go and you step in the back of the van and they hit you over the head and shove you in. You know, things like that, we've got to be very watchful.
I saw that movie too, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely not. So if you're like the kids I worry about the most are, like you said, the immigrants that are coming here and not speaking the
Language
language.
barriers, yeah.
Yeah, there's a huge language barrier, and they don't know, and they're looking for help. They have no food, no money, no
Right.
nothing. Um, and so those are the most vulnerable, and the runaways.
Right.
You know,
And those, that's why we're doing it along with youth services, because the young people are running away and the men and the predators are waiting.
They're
I don't want
out there.
to, say one group, but the predators are waiting for them to run away because they're vulnerable. They have no place to sleep. They run away from this group home because they didn't give me my potato chips when I asked for it, not even recognizing the dangers that they're facing in the community. So, please, I'm going to say
Yeah,
to
go
just
ahead.
tune in. May 9th, come to BrysonAssociates.com. You'll see the information on there so that you can join the webinar. We're going to upload everything this weekend. Human trafficking. It's a free webinar. Anyone that attends will receive, a certificate, especially if you're with youth services, because you're required to do so many hours of training each month. And I believe, like in Georgia, it's 2 hours a month. Different states have different numbers, but we will provide a training certificate for you, and come and visit us for our leadership training, 3-day leadership training in Georgia, and we're doing it right outside of Atlanta. And when I come in next month, I'll have all the details for that. And keep your eyes out for our training guide for supervisors around youth services and just leadership, training, supervising.
And share this information with everyone. We are out of time. Oh no, we have one more minute, so you get 30 more seconds. Okay. But I want to make sure that everyone share this information on YouTube. Go to our site and share it. And subscribe as well, because this information is vital. If you can't use it, I'm sure one of your family members or neighbors or somebody else can use this. Oh, thank you so much for such beautiful information.
Oh, thank you
Very
for
helpful.
having me. Thank you
I love
for having
you.
me.
So that's our show for today. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.